Ferrari is the best and most legendary car brand in the world, and you cannot change my mind. Let me explain why. I may not have talked about the brand all that much on my channel yet, but those that know me in person know that I'm a huge Ferrari fan. I'm a fan of just about every aspect of the brand, from the road cars they make now to the cars they made 10-20 years ago. And they're also the team I support in Formula One, even if it has been a bit embarrassing to be a Ferrari fan the last couple of years. From the road cars to the race cars, and just about everything the brand is and represents in the car community. It really is the best and most legendary car brand on this earth. So why Ferrari? Why have I taken such an attachment to this one brand when there's so many cool car makers out there? You have Lamborghini, Aston Martin. Let me start with where it all began for me. There was one car that I saw growing up, one specific car that I saw pictures of, and it was just so legendary to me. It was one car that at the time was like none other. And for me, that changed the perception of pretty much the entire car world and the whole brand of Ferrari for me. And that was the Ferrari Enzo. Honestly, I don't even know how I came across the car the first time that I ever did come across it. But for me at the time, it was the fastest car pretty much in the world, or so I thought. See, part of what made the Ferrari Enzo so special for me was that at the time, and I don't know where I got this information from because it turned out not to even be correct, but at the time, I believe the Ferrari Enzo was the fastest car in the world. I don't know, maybe just because it was a Ferrari and maybe just the way it looked with like that cool front end and everything. Maybe it's just the whole perception of the brand. And me being so young, I knew it was the fastest car in the world, whether it was true or not. I just knew it had to be. And then later on, when I found out that it wasn't, and there was another car that was faster than it, I'm like, no, that can't be true. It just cannot be true. There just could not be a car that was faster than a Ferrari. I just could not believe it as a kid. Like, this was a Ferrari. Like, Ferraris are known for being fast. How could anything be faster? So this brings me into kind of Ferrari's glorious history of racing. The whole point of Ferrari was to race and be fast. That was literally what the brand was. That's what it was made for. That's what Enzo believed in. It was meant to race and be fast. And there were so many glorious eras where Ferrari just dominated everything. Like the Schumacher era. One of the things that's kind of very sad for me is I grew up and got into Formula One after the Schumacher era. So I really missed that whole era of Ferrari dominance. For me, the kind of modern legends in Formula One are Lewis Hamilton and now Max Verstappen. But still, even if Ferrari wasn't winning, everyone knew that Ferrari was there to dominate over kind of the long history of the brand. I mean, there's a saying in racing that goes, it really doesn't matter whether you're for this team or this team or this team, who you root for, everyone loves Ferrari. Let's talk about the exclusivity of the brand of Ferrari and really what it means and represents in the car community. And I'm going to start by going back to the Ferrari Enzo. For me, for the longest time, I didn't think that car actually even existed. The Ferrari Enzo was a myth. It was a legend. It was the fastest, kind of most special and exclusive car in the world. It wasn't real. And to me, it was so exclusive that I never even thought I would see one in person. Like I said, it wasn't a real car to me. It was a myth. It was just a car on a poster. There was none in existence. It was just poof. It was nothing. And in general, it kind of shaped my perception of Ferrari as a brand. Ferraris in general just weren't real to me. They didn't exist. To me, they were these cars that like the ultra wealthy, multi-millionaire, billionaires are the only ones that had them, and the whole brand just seemed so exclusive and unattainable. I honestly believed at the time that there were maybe 1,000 Ferraris in the entire world, and now they make like 1,000 Ferraris every month. They make like 10,000 a year. And as elitist and bad as that might sound, it's part of what makes Ferrari so legendary. It's the exclusivity, the fact that it's supposed to be an occasion when you see one. You're not supposed to see one every single place you go. Otherwise, who would care? Who would bat an eye even? But the fact that it's so exclusive and so few people actually have Ferraris relative to the entire world is part of why it's so legendary. And the last point I really want to touch on is the feeling of owning a Ferrari. Now obviously, this is not a Ferrari, this is a BMW M2. It's nowhere near a Ferrari. But I think that essence of accomplishment and reward of I own a Ferrari, I think that's part of the allure of the brand and what makes it so special. That's part of the character of the car, is that accomplishment. Sure, there's other car brands where, you know, take Lamborghini for example, where yes, you still have to have pretty much the same amount of money and it's still the same level of accomplishment, but it has a different allure. The point of a Lamborghini is to be loud, to be very expressive, and it's just a very different feeling. And on the same point of kind of expression that Lamborghini gives, Ferrari has a different kind of expression, that achievement, that speed, the racing history. Like I said, it's a very similar thing to Lamborghini. It's just a different set of emotions that Ferrari pulls out of you as opposed to Lamborghini. The heritage, the racing, the speed, what it represents, it's just special. I'll end with one last story. About, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago now, I was driving around with one of my good friends at the time, and a thought just came into my mind, just a simple thought. What would it be like to own a Ferrari? Just one simple thought, and honestly, everything has spiraled since then from that single thought. So at the time, I began researching used Ferraris, like how much does it actually cost to buy a Ferrari? When I started researching and getting answers, it changed everything. My thought process changed. Like, I went from seeing Ferraris as unattainable, mythical brands to, oh shit, I can actually buy one of these one day. Like, they're not all that difficult to attain. Like, yes, they still are, but you just change your whole mindset and perception on everything. I saw, work differently. I saw money differently, the way money works, the way money should be invested. Like, everything just spiraled out of control from that one moment, and I could really pinpoint that one moment as what really started me wanting to go down some kind of entrepreneurial route and become wealthy and successful. It was really that one thought of what would it be like to drive a Ferrari. I just knew there had to be a way to own a Ferrari. And then I came across at the time the Ferrari 360, which became one of my absolute dream cars. At the time, they were going for $70,000 maybe, which is still, don't get me wrong, a lot of money. But when you put it into perspective of two BMW M2s, all of a sudden, it's not really that much money. Now, new, of course, they were going for some $250,000 or whatever they were going for, $200,000, $300,000. And new Ferraris are going for even more money than that. So the fact that it's a used Ferrari that's, quite frankly, not all that expensive relative to everything else in the world and all these new hypercars and supercars that are coming out, it just changed everything. The idea of owning this car, a Ferrari 360 or a 430, it just changed so much in my mind that now I work on making YouTube videos, I work on making money here, trying to make money there. And while I do have a normal job, because at the end of the day I need income, it provides me some way to build something. I have a vision in my mind. I have a grand vision of what I want my life to look like and how I make money. And a lot of my mentality went from maybe one day I can own a Ferrari 360 to I will own a Ferrari 360 at some point in my life. And it's funny because years ago I would have said, I can own one maybe in my 40s, 50s, 60s. And now I'm kind of at this weird point where I can make a very bad financial decision, and my girlfriend keeps having to talk me out of it. Like, no, don't do any stupid financial decisions. Don't buy a Ferrari. As awesome as it would be to have a Ferrari at 29, don't do it. It's not a smart financial decision. I didn't get to where I am by making those decisions. And with that, there's also new Ferraris that I want to own. I don't want to just stop at a Ferrari 360 in my 30s and that's it for my life. Like, there's other goals I want outside of cars, but as far as Ferrari specific, like, I still want to own an 812. And that's now jumping from, an $80,000, $90,000 car all the way up to $300,000, $400,000. So now we're talking significant jump in goals. And while 10 years ago I would have thought that that's crazy, now it's really not anymore to me. And one of my ultimate dreams is just to buy a car, a Ferrari, off the showroom floor, to have one spec'd just for me, to have my name in the seats, you know? But that's besides the point. So why this story? Really, I picked this story to tell because it shows that this obsession, this passion for this brand just changed my entire mentality and really a whole course in my life. I went from looking at Ferraris as this mystical, unattainable thing to having a different mindset where I'm genuinely going to be in a position in a few years to comfortably purchase one. And I really hope that that inspires some of you guys as well. And it just, in my opinion, goes to show how powerful this brand can be. You know, everyone has their own motivations, their own things they obsess over and love. But for me, Ferrari and its racing history, everything, it's just, Ferrari honestly is the best and most legendary car brand in the world. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, leave it a like, subscribe. It would really mean a lot to kind of help me get on my way to 1,000 subscribers and to kind of reach my goal of monetization and start making money off this channel and off these videos. It would really be appreciated. But otherwise, regardless, thank you guys so much for watching. Till next time.